After the first session of the week, the performer could cool down by performing circular swings of the arms, rolling the shoulders back and forth, crossing arms over, pulling the shoulder behind the head, and to reduce heart rate, they could slowly jog around the facility and gradually bring it to a walk. After the second session of the week, the performer could take part in a yoga session to stretch the muscles they used, or they could take an ice bath. This would remove lactic acid due to vasoconstriction and vasodilation. When a performer enters the ice bath, their blood vessels contract and cause less blood to pass through. Therefore, when they get out the ice bath, the blood vessels warm up again and dilate, meaning more blood is able to pass through and therefore more oxygen is transported around. As a result of this, the oxygen can break down the lactic acid. Similarly to week 1, the week 2 training program also consists of one session which focuses on upper body strength and core. This is so if the performer is a defender in football, they can become more effective on the pitch and defend the goal more efficiently. They could do this as they would be able to hold people off the ball more easily, and would allow them to keep possession of the ball or to gain possession by being harder for the opposition to hold off the ball. Finally, if the performer improved their upper body strength, they would be able to throw the ball further from a throw-in, which would give them a better chance at giving it to an open performer on their team. The other session would focus on power for the same reasons as week 1. This is so they can kick the ball further and be able to tackle more forcefully, which would give them a better chance at gaining possession of the ball. The performer would still only have 2 sessions on this week, as well as football training outside of the program. This is as they still wouldn't be completely used to having very hard sessions multiple times a week. Therefore, we must gradually increase the amount of the performer does, so they are at a high of a risk to injury. So they aren't. The other days would still be needed as rest days, as the performer would need time to recover after each session. The exercises within the sessions changed, so this would keep the performer interested instead of them taking part in the same exercises every session. Although the amount of sessions stayed the same, the amount of repetitions and sets increased, which would increase the intensity of the session. This would result in progressive overload, as the performer is gradually increasing their power and upper body strength. The first session in the week mainly uses exercise such as Russian twists and burpees. These exercises focus on the core and would therefore help the performer with their aerobic abilities. Sit-ups would also work on the performer's core, as it is mainly using the abdominal muscles. Finally, press-ups are used, as well as kettlebell swings and bicep curls. This would improve the performer's upper body strength, as well as it is using biceps, triceps, pectorals and deltoids. In the second session, the performer is mainly working on power. They are doing this by using exercises such as box jump, squat jumps, and they would also use a hint of plyometric training. This would be jumping over obstacles such as hurdles. All of these exercises work on power, as it is demanding the body to jump and explode upward or forward, which would increase the strength of the leg muscles. This includes hamstrings, quadriceps, gastrocnemius, and tibialis anterior. Another exercise used would be 50-meter sprints. This would work on power, as the performer has to explode at the start of a race. Finally, the performer would use a barbell push. This is because it puts a lot of weight on a performer's legs and would therefore increase the strength of the legs and increase power. Alternatives. The equipment needed for week 2 in the training program is 15 kg kettlebell, 8 kg dumbbell, barbell, hurdle, and a box. If the 15 kg kettlebell isn't available, then the performer could use a different weight such as a sandbag and perform sumo squats with them, as this would increase the strength in the arms and legs. If a 8 kg dumbbell isn't available, then the performer could use a pull-up bar, as it works the bicep and tricep muscles like the bicep curl would. The barbell would be replaced with the sandbags as well, as it would be able to be used in the same way with similar weight. A hurdle isn't necessary if there is a bench nearby and it is a similar height, then the performer could jump over that or jump onto it if they didn't have a box for box jumps. For week 3, in Tuesday's session, they take part in chin-ups, Russian twist, crunches, clap press-ups, medicine ball throws, and circle squats. In Thursday's session, there is a plank, mountain climbers, battle ropes, army pull-ups, and jumping lunges with SAQ ladders. And then Friday, there's kettlebell swings, lunges, dips, 50-meter dashes, skipping, and shadow boxing. The first section of week 3 works on core, so the performer could warm up by taking part in a few stretches of the legs and and arms to get them ready, and then go for a light jog for about 5 minutes to warm up the core muscles that will be used in the session. In the second session, the performer would mainly use strength of the upper body and warm up. They could use for this be going for it on the rowing machine, but and not adding any resistance to it. This way, the muscles would warm up for the performer to use in the training session, and they wouldn't get too tired from previous exercise. In the final session of week 3, the performer could warm up the leg muscles, which would mainly be used by cycling. They wouldn't cycle very fast or hard, as they're just needing to warm up, and therefore don't want to overtrain or injure themselves or cause themselves to be tired before the training session. After the first training session in week 3, the performer could copy their warm-up, however, this time go even slower, as to reduce the heart rate and reduce the amount of lactic acid in their body. After the second training session of week 3, the performer could go to the swimming pool and complete multiple lengths of the swimming pool without getting too fast, in order to reduce their heart rate slowly and stretch the muscles back out again. After the last session of week 3, the performer could cycle home, or could cycle for roughly 1 to 2 km at a slow speed, in order to not cycle for too long, but also not go too fast, so the heart rate of the performer can drop back to normal. In the third week, the amount of training sessions increases from 2 to 3. This is due to frequency principle of the progressive overload. By increasing the amount of times the performer trains per week, it would increase the amount of reps the performer does in a week, and as a result of this, they would improve more. The first session is still focusing on core and upper body strength. This is done through crunches and Russian twists, being used to work on the core of the performer, and chin-ups, and the use of medicine ball would improve upper body strength on the performer. Circle squats have been chosen as they will improve strength of the leg muscles and also work on the core slightly again. Therefore, this improves 2 factors the performer wants to improve on. The second and third training session is week 3 improve core and power mainly, but both of the sessions also have exercises which would improve upper body strength. An example of this is in the third session of the week, when the performer has to complete dips and shadow boxing, which would both slightly improve upper body strength despite the whole session, focusing mainly on the performer's core. By having 1 or 2 exercises in every session that work on another component of fitness, the performer would have a more balanced training program and be able to improve multiple fitness components at once. In week 4, in Tuesday's session, they take part in squat jumps, burpees, Russian twists, ISO dead bug, and clap press-ups. In Thursday's session, they take part in chin-ups, bench press, barbell push, hammer curls, and push-up planks. And in Friday's session, they do depth drop, box jumps, 1-footed box jumps, sideways jumps over a hurdle, and 15 squats with a 15 kg weight and a 1.5 minute rest, and 3 sets of that. The first session for week 4 focuses on the core of the performer. A warm-up they can take part in, it's called yoga, just to stretch out and use their core muscles in order to warm up the body and prepare itself for exercise by increasing the pulse rate for the performer. The second session of week 4 is mainly focused around upper body strength and warm up. The performer could take part in, before maybe using light weights such as 2 kg weights to perform bicep curls. This way the performer also gets used to the action that they perform in the session and increase their heart rate and prepare themselves for exercise. Finally, the last session of week 4 focuses mainly on power and the leg muscles of the performer. A warm-up the performer could be a SAQ ladder, as long as they don't try to sprint it. This would warm up the performer and get their blood pumped around the body. It would also get them used to using their leg muscles, just like they would in the session. After the first session of week 4, the performer could go for a slow jog, as this would work on the core muscles, just like in a session. However, this way they would be using the core muscles very much and would reduce the heart rate of the performer and allow them to reduce lactic acid built up in the body. After the second session of week 4, the performer could use the rowing machine without using any weight. This way they could be working at a low intensity, which would allow the heart rate of the performer to return to normal, and the muscles they were using in the session could also return to normal, as they would be stretched out and would be receiving enough oxygen. Finally, the last session of week 4 could have a cool down, which consists of a slow jog, which returns into a slow walk. This way the performer would slowly return the working muscles to a state they are comfortable at, and they would be able to remove any lactic acid that would have built up during the session. In week 4 of the training program, the performer would take part in 3 sessions again, but this time take part in different exercises, as if the performer does the same exercises every session, they would lose interest in the training and might give up on the training program. In the first session of week 4, the performer mainly works on core of the performer and the muscular endurance of the legs in the burpees. This would benefit the performer as a defender in football, because they would be able to use their legs at a high rate throughout the course of the game. As well as this, the core of the performer would help them to perform in aerobic zone comfortably and would have stronger abdominals, as this would help the performer work continuously for longer. In the second session, the performer would be using exercises mainly based around their upper body strength. This would help them to defend the ball from oncoming attackers, as this would be able to hold them off more effectively and hold the opposition back more. Finally, the last session of the 4th week would help improve the performer's leg muscles, as they're performing lots of squats and other exercises to do with jumps. This would improve their quadriceps, hamstrings and gluteals, which as a result would allow them to kick the ball more forcefully and would allow them to clear the ball more effectively. In week 5, Tuesday, you're doing clap press-ups, decline press-ups, battle ropes again, but a different technique, sit-ups. And Thursday, you're doing standing jumps. It's a plyometric training session. And then Friday, you're doing 30-meter sprints, step-ups, squats with one leg, a 2K run, and 1K on a rowing machine. In the first session of week 5, the main focus of the session is core and upper body strength. In order for the performer to warm up these muscles, they could perform stretches such as downward dog and complete a number of leg raises. This would get the core involved with the warm up and therefore prepare the muscles that they will be used in the session. In the second session of week 5, the focus is plyometric training, so therefore the leg muscles, and it would also increase power. An effective warm-up for a plyometric session would be heel flicks, open the gate, close the gate, sweeps, kicks and sits, where the performer rests the leg along the other knee. These would be the stretches used by, as a pulse raiser, the performer could complete 2 laps of the facility, where they change from sidestepping to karaoke, or to hopping on one leg for a certain distance, then to sidestepping for the next half of a lap. An effective warm-up for the final session of week 5 could be based around the performer's legs again, so they're doing squats, step-ups and running. They could warm up by going for a very short cycle with no resistance. They would start off slowly, but then gradually increase the intensity of the exercise until they are in the aerobic training zone, which is roughly 121 to 162 beats per minute. They would work aerobically for roughly 5 minutes before stopping, but they don't want to go too fast to make themselves tired before the session. The week 5 cool down.